Hey there, my name is Alex, I am the Silver Mont, and this video is a quick starter guide for the Recluse in Elden Ring and Nightreign. The Recluse has perhaps the most clear-cut strengths and weaknesses out of all the characters. On the one hand, she has the second highest FP, only 5 behind the Revenant. She has 51 Faith and 51 Int, giving her S-scaling in both incantations and sorceries. Conversely, her health is the lowest in the game, her stamina is on the lower side of average, and her melee stats are abysmal. 12 strength and 19 dex. A classic mage then. She's a great caster, but naff when it comes to melee. This extends to her playstyle. Recluse is a feast or famine sort of character with a lot of RNG to her compared to some of the others. She's one of those characters who will either do more or less nothing, or be carrying your run when it comes to damage. Along with Duchess, I would say she is the hardest character to play right. Not hard per se, but harder than the others. That just means she has a bit more going on. The Recluse's passive is Elemental Defense. Discover affinity residues that can be collected to replenish FP. Essentially, anytime an enemy is hit by any element, by you or your team, you can then absorb that element from them, recovering FP. So the Recluse essentially has infinite FP through proper management. Don't be afraid to keep a Starlight Shard or 2 on hand though, those are still useful, even if a Revenant on the team probably needs them more. This passive ties directly into her skill, and is very important to her kit. The character's skill, this time, is Magic Cocktail. Each time you absorb an element from an enemy, it will show up in your affinity gauge. You can have 3. Depending on the combination of your elements, you will then cast a different ability once you have 3 elements, and use this skill again. This is useful, but don't get too obsessed with it. It's more important to just have a good damage spell that you can use. But some of these cocktails are nice. Now, briefly I'll list them all, but I won't go in depth on each. If you want to find that out, or I'm sure there's 100 videos like that. I will however point out the ones that I think are best. Triple Magic summons a magic blade that hits enemies a few times. Triple Fire, big fire AoE. Triple Lightning, better dodging. Triple Holy, poise and I think damage negation buff. Magic Fire, for example 2 magic, 1 fire, or 2 fire, 1 magic. A tracking flame attack. Magic Lightning, a magical sword dash attack. Magic Holy, about a 10-second buff in an area of unlimited FP. Fire Lightning, dash attack with AoE lightning. Fire Holy, a health buff for the team, debuff for enemies. Lightning Holy, a parry buff. Magic Fire Lightning, gravity attack AoE. Magic Fire Holy, a flamethrower that hurts enemies and regenerates health and FP for allies if you hit them. Fire Lightning and Holy, a delayed lightning rod attack. Magic Lightning and Holy, ice block and ice storm attack. Now everyone's going to have their own opinions here, but if you ask me, Magic Holy for unlimited FP is one of the best ones, allowing you to spam your best spells, maybe even the legendary Comet Azure. Magic Holy is also fairly easy to get. Other great options are the Gravity Attack, Magic Fire and Lightning for a strong group hitting AoE against crowds, Magic Fire and Holy for the Flamethrower attack if you have 2 melee in your group, and then the Magic Lightning Holy Ice Block for the good AoE and fairly long invulnerability period it brings you. Great for safe damage and avoiding big attacks in a pinch. In general, most of the Holy cocktails are pretty good, so it's always worth grabbing some sort of Holy. Moving on, we have the Recluse's ultimate, Soul Blood Song. This will mark nearby enemies with a red sigil. If you hit any of these marked enemies, you and your team will recover health and FP. They also take more damage when they're marked. It's honestly one of the trickiest ults to use in the game. Again, not super hard, just harder than most of the others, which are kind of just point and forget. Can't tell you how many times I used it. I immediately got downed, or the team got downed, or the boss flew away for the full, fairly short duration, just wasting it. Best time to use this either during a period you know the team's likely to need healing, or when you know they have a good damage window on the boss to take advantage of the debuff for a spammy damage window. Now, as for the Recluse's kit, she starts with 1 staff and you will mostly be looking for staves and seals in your playthrough. Melee's not really worth it at all, unless for the passive effects, for which, you want anything that gives you more FP or FP regen, but don't bother with FP regen on hit, as that stuff is kind of useless most of the time, and you're not really going to be hitting with your weapon, and it doesn't count for spells, I'm pretty sure. Spells will make or break your character. Seals are your main source of lightning and holy, and also a good source of fire. Black Flame, Holy Discus, Lightning Spear, all fantastic. For sorceries and staves, Cannon of Hymer is awesome, Death Rancor, Comet Azure, Shattering Crystal, Stars of Ruin, these are all good ones to look out for. Just, as long as you're not spamming Glintstone Pebble, you should be fine. Now, I've never seen it, but I think Glintstone Ice Crag's in too, which would be really good, probably. But in general, I'd say those are some of the best sorceries. Look out for things that boost charged sorceries, as those are always worth it. Charged sorceries in general are really good. That just means holding the sorcery to charge it before you let it go if you weren't aware. As for her relics, frankly, none of her exclusive relic skills are really worth it, in my opinion. Instead, there's a Grand Tranquil Scene from the Collector signboard which gives max FP with 3+ staves, max FP after opening Wizard Towers, and magic attack up, which is great. Combine this with the Everjail, Relic, and whatever else you want really. The Dark Knight of the Wise isn't awful, but you won't really be benefiting from the stacked mechanics, and the FP regen is kinda useless, so you'd only get the max FP, I think. Well, it's not the worst. Anything that boosts FP and sorceries for Recluse is nice, because the more you can spam your stronger spells without having to spend time regenerating, that's good in my book. In general, she's a character who needs things to go right for her. A little more than the other characters. There's no real way for her to start off good. The Wilder and Executor, specifically, can just steamroll with their base kits. Recluse needs to get some good magic, so remember to check churches, forts, the map rooms they have staves, and wizard towers. And don't forget a seal or two. S rank in Faith, her incantations are just as strong as her sorceries. But when played well, and with a bit of luck, the Recluse can pump out the best damage. At any rate, thanks so much for watching, and if you have any questions or tips for the Recluse, leave them down below in the comments. Catch you next time, and remember to comment Azure that like button. What?